What's up, guys? I'm Darren.
And I'm Austin.
And this is the Glory Boys podcast. We're so glad that you're here today.
Yeah, today's episode, we're talking about how to pick music that doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and roll that intro. All right.
Today we're talking about music.
Yes.
I love music.
Music's great.
You love music.
Yeah.
We both love music.
That's true.
Kind of a lot. Did you always love music?
I did. My dad was actually in a traveling choir as a kid. So really great singer. Still is a really great singer. I think he had to stop because he was born deaf in his left ear. And so he had to kind of overcompensate. So then as time went on, his right ear kind of became deaf also. But super great singer. Helped me learn how to play guitar, all that stuff. So yeah, I was exposed to music at a very young age. I was in choir starting in kindergarten. So yeah, what about you?
What type of music were like you kind of immersed in?
My dad listened to so we went through phases.
Yeah.
But mostly like 70s, 80s rock. So like Styx, Foreigner, Queen, Journey, all that. REO Speedwagon. He actually didn't like REO Speedwagon.
Really?
Only because he had bought his ex-girlfriend tickets and he couldn't go, so she went with another guy and so anyways, he doesn't like REO Speedwagon now. But yeah, like that style of, 70s, 80s rock.
Yeah.
And really grew up on that. A lot of country too. There's a lot of, Garth Brooks and stuff in there.
Brooks and Dunn.
Eventually we listened to a little bit of some more modern country artists, but always came back to the good old 80s rock.
The oldies.
Yep.
The good old oldies.
What about you?
That's awesome. Yeah, I loved music ever since I can remember. I just remember vaguely, even being 5 years old, my mom got me one of those like microphone cassette, like combo karaoke machines, but it was like a Fisher Price one. So, I mean, I was really little and it was like attached and you could sing to the songs on the cassette tapes. Remember those cassette tape things that went inside players and you press play?
Oh, yeah. Vaguely.
Those things back in the day.
I think I saw one once.
But yeah, so I did that. And then, grew up. My dad was playing drums. I remember being a young age, like hearing him play drums and just always thought that was cool. And so later picked up drums and played a lot of music. I played guitar too and really liked it. Not as good at guitar, but played drums and got in bands early on, like when I was like 13, 14.
You were never a band geek in school though. You were always like a cool music kid you were like in the metal band, whereas I was in like the jazz band.
Yeah, but I was still friends with all the people in band. And honestly, like I don't know if I was just like too like, I don't even know why I didn't join band, because now I look back, man, why didn't I join choir and band? I could have learned so much being in those classes, and I had friends in those classes, so why not? But I just never did. I think I just always I'd rather skip class and go skate outside and do that stuff. So yeah, I never got to be in marching band.
I was Mr. Extracurricular.
Nice.
In high school.
Yeah, I was Mr. Extra skip classes.
Nice. So that's our dynamic.
Yeah. So yeah, music's super
What kind of music did you listen to though growing up?
Growing up, my mom, I lived with my parents split when I was 5, so I lived with my mom the majority of my upbringing, and she listened to like everything. But I remember it was a lot of oldies and old like classic rock, but she loved Def Leppard. So we listened to a lot of Def Leppard, Fleetwood Mac, ABBA. I mean, like just a ton of like just good stuff, and she loved that stuff, so she would blare it, and I really liked anything that was just good. And then as I got older, my mom just also kind of has a very wide palette in music taste, and so I think I got that from her. But yeah, we like anything that's just good. Like if it's a good track, it's a good artist, like we're gonna jam it. I remember in like 5th grade when Nelly Country Grammar came out and we bought it at Target, and like I remember we paid like $22.50 for the CD. We like popped it in the CD player in the car and we jammed the whole record, which probably isn't the best thing for like a 5th grader to be listening to, but hey, you know what?
Yeah.
We jammed that whole record, and There's just like those certain records you get along your journey that you're like, man, I remember that was super nostalgic for me because it's such a pivotal point in music, you know, when music drops and it's like, man, this is just different. There's something about this. And then it's like a legendary album forever living on. So it's just cool. Music's awesome. I love it. Why is music so important in what we do?
Yeah, so music is such a huge part of films, of video. And we talk about, you know, one of our favorite producers is Tony Anderson. We use his tracks all the time. Anytime we can, pretty much, we'll use a Tony Anderson
I think
song.
we used actually all of them on Musicbed, so now we're kind of
probably
got to hit him up and see.
Seriously.
See if
hey, can you make some more tracks, bro?
We really need some, bro.
Yeah, but music has a way of invoking emotion, telling stories, making you feel something, and it's powerful. Yeah. It's a huge part of it. If you were to watch one of our wedding films with the music turned off, it would be terrible. I mean, not terrible. It would still look cool.
That's actually a great test. Side note, but when you watch your film with no audio, it really helps you understand if your cuts are good, if things are, because video is 50% video, 50% audio. Like that's how you make the film. So you have to have great audio, whether that's dialogue, speeches, people talking, people, you know, a voiceover and a really great song. It's very, very important. And so, yeah, turning off the sound and watching your film can help you give a fresh perspective and not get so caught up in the feel in the moment. But maybe I should tweak this because it didn't really feel great. That was just a side note.
So picking music that doesn't suck.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
Well,
first of all, where do we get our music?
Right now, we currently get our music from Musicbed, from Soundstripe, and do we still have an Epidemic Sound?
We haven't used it in a while, but yeah, probably should cancel it.
Yeah, so we have 3 platforms. We have all 3 being because these platforms don't update all of the time. And the amount of work that we're putting out, we need tracks like ASAP. And so sometimes it's hard to find that perfect track. I mean, a lot of you guys know already, if you're at all familiar with editing films, wedding films, commercial work, I mean, anything, finding the song to fit the film is half of the battle.
Yep.
Once you find that song, it's like downhill almost. But yeah, we use Musicbed, Soundstripe, pretty much all of the time. And then Epidemic is like a fail-safe, like we need a quick little social media track. They have a lot of good tracks on there for that. But as far as commercial work and wedding films, we pretty much stick to Musicbed. Yeah. A lot more professional sounding producers and artists on there, and we just really like it. Yeah.
And each platform has their own use, like you said. So Soundstripe we'll use for certain genres that they're really strong in. Yeah. We'll use for
like Mikey Geiger.
Yeah.
Pala,
certain producers.
Certain guys
are really awesome. But yeah, Musicbed we found overall just has the highest quality of composers, highest quality of music, the most unique sounding music for the most part. Yep. So yeah, we use that for pretty much as we can. We'll use Musicbed. And when we do that, what do we look for in a song?
So depending on the film, this is tough because, I mean, music is a very wide variety of there's so many different genres.
Before you move on, sorry, I just had to crack this. Going to try the Sour Patch Red Berry Ghost Energy
We haven't
drink.
tried that one yet, so let me know how you think it is.
It literally tastes exactly like the red Sour Patch Kid.
Really? Okay, now I got to try this quick.
It's good.
Oh my God.
It tastes just like the red Sour Patch Kid.
That is insane. Well, because it's actually, so a lot of energy drinks will try to emulate like these Sour Patch flavors.
That one's actually licensed.
So yeah, this is real license. So, I mean, that must have cost a ton of money, but great selling point.
Yeah.
That smells and tastes just like the red Sour Patch, which is actually one of my least favorite flavors, by the way.
Right.
But it's spot on.
It sold these energy drinks for me because I walked in, I saw Sour Patch Kids, and I bought one of all 5 flavors.
Which, if you guys want to know, Austin and I had eaten a 3-pound bag of that this week. So.
Yep. Sour Patch Kids are life.
Yeah, they're delicious. But anyway, to get back on music, to pick a great song for your film is one of the biggest challenges I think we face all the time. And if I want to speak to specifically to wedding films, on our questionnaire that we send out to each bride and groom, It asks on one of the last questions is, what kind of music do you listen to? And oftentimes people will put an artist, or I like this genre, or I like all music. That helps us gauge how specific we'd like to get the genre to be for their film. Not only that, but when we meet them on the day and we shoot all day with them and get to know them, the feel of the wedding, if it's a boho wedding or a country wedding or, just whatever type of wedding it is, you kind of get a feel for the vibe and, what they're listening to for their first dance and for their party bus or whatever that is. You kind of get the kind of vibe and genres and music that they like. And so we try to match that to finding a song that will really fit their film and their personality, which honestly, I say all that and I'm like, man, that's a lot of like analyzing and learning and figuring out who this couple is to be able to put a song to match that. That's a big thing. That's tough.
Yeah.
But it adds a ton of value. And I think every time that we've ever put out a wedding film, the bride and groom have mentioned like, man, this song is so perfect. Like I downloaded it and listened to it all the time. And it really has been cool to see that all of the care and upfront work that we put into that really pays off in the end.
Yeah. A big part of picking music is, and part of why we talked about our music background is you kind of have to you don't have to, but it really helps to have a general understanding of how music works to pick a good song. There's certain types of songs that we're just going to stay away from for the most part.
Yeah.
Because of the way that they're structured or they don't have build. So I guess what are some things that like we won't typically look for? Or what are some types of songs we stay away from?
Yeah. So, and this is for us and our brand. This doesn't maybe apply to everyone, but what we really, really care about is quality of music, the quality of the structure of the song, the quality of the production, the vocal production, the everything that goes into it. We just really stay away from certain types of genre, or not even certain types of genres, but just types of songs. So certain BPMs, certain time signatures. So we don't really love like 4 on the Floor, which is like the like the songs that you clap to.
Yeah.
They come off a little bit more corny or a little bit more less serious than most of the work that we put out. However, maybe some day along the lines when we are doing bigger commercial stuff, that may not be the case. But for right now in our wedding films and right now with the commercial work we are doing, we try to stay less corny and quirky and more in the emotional driven and more professional sounding songs, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Unique.
Yeah, uniqueness is
I think uniqueness is what we're really looking for.
Yeah.
And that's where Musicbed excels.
Yep.
But with a platform that has such a high standard of quality with their composers and everything, it is hard to have volume.
Yep.
We've gone through most of the songs on Musicbed that we like. But yeah, uniqueness, I think, is what we're typically looking for. And another part of knowing music too is just even understanding, like you said a time signature. Go figure out what that is, or learn about time signatures. Learn about different keys, what keys work well together. We'll do that a lot, and it's a feature that I know Musicbed's working on it right now, but a search by key feature is really important, because if you're wanting to do transitions in weddings are huge. And in any film, you don't ever want to be like, oh, the song changed and I felt it. Yeah. You just want the song to change and nobody to notice. Yes. And so knowing what key you're looking for, even knowing that you need to look for a song in the same key, stuff like that's super important. And so having a little bit of a music background can help. These aren't things that are super complicated, that you can still learn them. But yeah, things like that will help you pick songs that don't suck.
Yep.
In addition to that, certain characteristics of songs. Like we typically, for weddings especially, will pick songs that have a good build. There's some dynamic to it. It's not just straight song. So yeah, trying to find songs with some build, some dynamic, something that's beautiful, that's atmospheric. And ultimately, we're talking about weddings a lot here, but I think you could apply this to corporate work too.
Yeah.
There is a kind of level of brand that you have to be aware of. You as a wedding filmmaker, you kind of are the brand because people are hiring you for your style.
Yeah.
Now that's a little bit different when you're doing client work because you have to then match the brand. If we were to make a video for a client and use a song that we've used on a wedding film because that's our brand, that wouldn't go over very well.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
And so you have to be aware of the brand that you're trying to make or use the music for, essentially, and you really have to pick music that works with that. So if you're working with a super modern, clean startup, you're not going to use a folk song or a Four on the Floor. You know, you're probably going to use something that's a little bit more electronic or modern,
newer feeling and sounding.
Yeah.
There's got to be a level of freshness, and that just comes with time and honestly, like, market research and watch other videos, like what other companies are doing XYZ. Why are they sounding like this? What kind of voiceovers are they doing? Is it a guy? Is it a girl? Is it happy? Is it more serious and somber? You know, there's just so many things that go into corporate work and wedding films and picking and selecting the proper audio that needs to go into your film. I think one of the things that helps us a ton is because we're musicians, because we sing on our worship team at our church. We sing songs together every now and then for fun. But what we've learned is we sing with a track and we sing with a click track that keeps us on time and on beat, and just knowing how to be on time. I'm a drummer, so drumming my whole life, playing with a click track, you can't get off the track.
Right.
So with that, I was able to have a little advantage on the editing side of some of those songs that I had to cut. So you can't just always download a 2.5 minute song, put it into your film, and it's just ready to export.
Right.
You actually
almost
have
never.
Pretty much never. If that happens, like, God bless you, and you should go buy a lotto ticket or something. But that thing, like, you got to chop it up, you got to splice it, you got to cut it on the right bar, and you got to move it and adjust it and fade things out and fade things in, and so that you can build the dynamics that we were talking about.
Yep.
And that's a learning curve for sure. I mean, I look at people even on our team at church, and even what we've taught Bray, like over the last year or two. You're cutting video so great, but now it's time to like really learn the audio side of things, because it's just as important. And it's definitely a learning curve, but it's not overwhelming. Like, you can learn it. If you like music, you listen to music, you can understand that music is pretty simple. There's a pretty simple format. There's a pretty simple layout: verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, or whatever. But just understanding those different parts of the songs, how to cut the pieces out, where to cut them, making sure that the keys are changing from this chord to this chord. Yep. Can you put those together? I know that can get really like overwhelming, but learning to cut things on the right time and at the right mark of the track, and then being able to splice it together with another part of the track is a really, really important thing to learn. And it gives you an advantage to make your films a little bit better.
You should do a YouTube video on how to do that.
Yeah, I would love to, because I'm really passionate about it.
Hey, if you're watching this or listening to this anywhere, go subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yeah.
And pretty soon, Darren will do a audio tutorial that will walk you through. We download the song, what we do with it. I mean, we've done everything from chopping the song into 5 different pieces and using 5 different pieces of the song to attain the goal we want.
Yep.
We've made the song longer, we've made it different, spliced it in with another song in the same key seamlessly. I mean, there's been a million things that we've had to do to make the songs fit, because we're not getting custom scored music for our videos at this point in our careers.
Right.
And so when you're licensing music, you do have to learn how to manipulate the songs, because they're not going to be the 30 seconds. If you're doing a 30-second spot, none of those songs are made exactly 30 seconds.
And if they
to my knowledge.
And if they are, because you can download 30-second versions of some of these, but they're not the build and the dynamic that you need for that 30-second. Like, say it's going on TV, it's got to be really, really specific.
Yep.
It needs to be a slow build at the beginning. There needs to be a big explosion of energy, and then it needs to come and resolve.
Yep.
And you can't do that in 30 seconds just by downloading tracks and throwing it on there. You got to really learn how to cut that stuff up and keep it so that it's still flowing and it feels intentional. Because 1, we don't want our films to feel choppy and weird, but 2, you don't want to discredit the artist or the composer that put this amazing, beautiful track together, and then they're seeing it in your film and then they're like, man, they totally murdered my song.
Right.
I just never want to do that. So don't suck.
Yeah. So a couple things. just things you can be researching if you're wanting to learn more about this.
Yep.
I think time signatures is a good one.
Yep.
Keys, knowing what keys work well with each other.
Yep.
And then chord progressions, because especially for the shorter videos, it's even harder because you can't cut a chord progression in half and it sound natural. So go do some research on chord progressions. That'll help you, I think, learning how to cut songs more naturally. We use reverb often to finish the song before where we want it to finish.
So oftentimes there'll be an outro, a logo will pop up, or our logo will pop up. And I think with the ending of a video, if the song doesn't resolve in a way that you're like, man, I wish this kind of trailed out a little bit longer so that I can throw up Call Now with this logo or our logo at the end of a wedding film. We always want it to feel like it's still continuing a little bit. A really cool trick that we will later do in a YouTube video, but we'll kind of chop off that last beat that's on the edge of the song, and we'll actually make it a compound clip in Final Cut, and we'll add Cathedral, which is a in-house plugin for Final Cut Pro 10, and it's actually pretty cool the way that we've been able to manipulate it to make it really work in our favor. And it's hard to not be able to show you what it sounds like, A and B it, but we'll do that in the YouTube video. But just using what you have. You don't have to have crazy amount of tools or plugins. You don't have to be a crazy producer, keyboard, pianist. Like, I don't know how to play keys. I don't know how to produce super well. But if you just learn a couple of these tiny little tricks, you can really get away with, really minimal knowledge of music. Just being intentional with a little bit of importance, keys, cutting songs, making sure the dynamic is right, and time signatures. Yeah,
and the last thing I'd say is I've found most of the time that when I come across the right song, I know it.
You know the
I
feeling.
do genuinely think that you will feel it when you come across the song.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't. I've had projects where at the end of the day, I got to get the project done, and you don't have time to spend 3 days looking for the perfect song.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get blessed, and it's the first one you listen to, and it's perfect.
It's the best.
So just keep your head up if you're out there frustrated looking for music. But what else?
I think that's really it, honestly.
Yeah, pretty simple. This is the start, I think, of a whole series that we need to do on YouTube about audio and Final Cut Pro specifically.
Yep.
How you can do so much without needing to put it through Logic or Fairlight or any of these audio editing engineering programs. You can do quite a bit in Final Cut. So we'll start a series doing that, I think. We'll have good old Darren teach you our ways of audio techniques for manipulating music, dialogue, sound effects, all of that good stuff that's so important to all films. Yeah, I think some of you too, if you're wondering like, how much does all this cost? And I don't know if I can afford to, pay a subscription per month. Well, number one, you're going to have to if you're going to do this for a living, because you can't really borrow music anymore. I think back in the day, you could get away with, downloading songs and throwing them on your videos. But anymore with the Content ID, sync guide, what is it called? Content ID? Content ID, yep.
With Content ID, which is really great because it protects artists. And as artists, like we would very much want to be paid for the songs that we produce and put our lives into. And so totally love and respect that. And so, you can't just download a track. I think a lot of people ask us like, hey, could you just download a Drake song and put it in the video? No, you can't. Like, you just can't. Unless it's public domain, which is really nothing good unless you're trying to do a Christmas song. It's just not worth it. So paying the $10-15 a month for something like a Soundstripe, or going the above and beyond a little bit more and paying the $90 or $100 a month for Musicbed, it's just totally worth it. You'll see the quality of your work grow, and your clients will be super, super happy. So we hope that this episode helped you. We're excited about audio. We love music. And so if you have any questions, please comment below. We'd love to answer them.
Yeah, and until next time, we love you guys. Thanks so much for joining. If you're on YouTube watching this, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for notifications for future videos. If you're on Apple Podcasts, it would mean the world to us if you leave us a rating. And thank you again so much for taking the time to listen to this podcast. We hope that it brought you some value, and we will see you in the next one.
Love you guys.